Today we're embarking on a journey into one of the most profound and enduring treasures of Tibetan culture, its writing and literature. In the heart of the Himalayan mountains, amidst sacred monasteries and serene landscapes, lies a literary tradition that has been a lifeline for wisdom, spirituality, and identity. Tibetan history is far more than the story of a land. It's a living, breathing chronicle of the human spirit etched in words. Imagine this. Centuries ago, monks and scholars sat in the flickering glow of butter lamps, their hands moving with meticulous care, preserving ancient knowledge. They weren't just writing books, they were weaving the fabric of their civilization. Every stroke of the pen, every page of scripture became a bridge to enlightenment, a means of guiding generations through the path of compassion, mindfulness, and inner peace. Tibetan literature is deeply intertwined with Buddhism. From the sacred teachings of the Buddha to commentaries by great masters, these texts are not just religious works. They are profound reflections on life's ultimate truths, carrying the essence of compassion, resilience, and the pursuit of enlightenment. Think of the Kangyur and Tengyur, the two monumental collections of Buddhist scriptures. These texts are more than relics. They're spiritual compasses that have guided Tibetans for centuries and continue to inspire millions around the world. But the story of Tibetan literature is not without its challenges. During times of turmoil, when monasteries were destroyed and books were burned, the resilience of this culture shone through. Monks risked their lives to save manuscripts, smuggling them to safety, ensuring that these treasures of wisdom would not be lost to time. It's a testament to the unyielding spirit of a people who believe that knowledge is a sacred trust. In Tibetan culture, writing is seen as a sacred act. The very process of creating a text is considered an offering, a form of devotion. Words carry blessings and books are revered as objects of veneration. Even today you can find prayer flags fluttering in the wind, their printed mantras spreading messages of peace and harmony to the world. Tibetan history reminds us that the written word is not just ink on paper. It's a vessel for the soul of a people. It's a beacon of hope in times of darkness and a light that guides humanity toward wisdom and compassion. As we explore this incredible literary tradition, let us reflect on what it teaches us, not just about Tibet, but about the power of words to shape our world and our hearts. Stay with us as we unravel the mysteries and the timeless wisdom of Tibetan history, a story written not only in books but in the lives and hearts of those who cherish its legacy. To truly understand the origins of Tibetan writing, we must journey back to a time of profound transformation, the 7th century. In the highlands of Tibet, where the air carries whispers of prayer and the mountains stand as sentinels of history, a visionary leader emerged, King Songtsen Gampo. His name echoes through the annals of Tibetan history as a figure who not only united his people, but also sowed the seeds of intellectual and spiritual enlightenment. It was during his reign that a momentous decision was made, one that would alter the course of Tibetan culture forever. Recognizing the power of the written word, King Songtsen Gampo initiated the creation of a script uniquely suited to his people. This was not a mere linguistic exercise. It was an act of cultural preservation and spiritual devotion. The king sought to translate the sacred Buddhist texts from Sanskrit, ensuring that the profound teachings of the Buddha could take root in Tibetan soil. The script itself drew inspiration from the ancient Indian Brahmi script, refined and tailored to the phonetic needs of the Tibetan language. The result was not just a tool for communication, but a bridge to enlightenment, a means by which the wisdom of India's Nalanda tradition could flow into the hearts and minds of the Tibetan people. But why does the creation of a script hold such significance? It is more than an arrangement of letters on a page. For Tibet, it marked the dawn of a cultural renaissance. This script became the foundation upon which monasteries flourished, where scholars penned treatises on philosophy, medicine, and art, and where the profound teachings of Buddhism were preserved for generations to come. It symbolized the awakening of a collective identity rooted in wisdom, compassion, and resilience. Imagine the impact of this act. For the first time, Tibetan monks and scholars could engage deeply with the teachings of the Buddha, interpreting them not as foreign concepts but as truths articulated in their own language. This was more than translation. It was transformation. The written word became a sacred vessel, carrying the essence of spiritual teachings through the centuries. The creation of the Tibetan script also reinforced the idea that knowledge is sacred. In Tibetan culture, books are not mere objects. They are revered as treasures of wisdom. Even today, the sight of scriptures carefully wrapped in cloth or monks meticulously copying texts in the glow of a butter lamp reminds us of the deep reverence for learning that defines Tibetan identity. King Songtsen Gampo's vision extended beyond politics or power. By commissioning the Tibetan script, he laid the groundwork for a civilization that would thrive on intellectual and spiritual inquiry. His legacy is a testament to the enduring power of the written word, a power that continues to inspire, illuminate, and uplift those who seek the truths it holds. This is the story of a script that became the soul of a culture, a story that remains etched in the pages of Tibetan history. Through it, we see how one leader's vision can spark a renaissance, creating a legacy that transcends time and space. Let us honor this profound chapter of Tibetan history, a tale of wisdom preserved and a culture awakened. Tibetan literature stands as one of the most profound testaments to the union of spirituality and intellectual achievement. At its heart lies an unbreakable bond with Buddhism, a faith that not only shaped the Tibetan worldview, but also inspired a literary tradition unlike any other. To understand this, we must delve into the sacred texts that form the backbone of Tibetan thought, the Kangyur and Tengyur. The Kangyur, meaning translated words, comprises the teachings of the Buddha himself. It is a vast collection of scriptures covering philosophy, ethics, and meditation practices. The Tengyur, on the other hand, meaning translated treatises, consists of commentaries and interpretations by great Buddhist masters, expanding upon the original teachings with clarity and depth. Together, these monumental works represent a treasure trove of wisdom and serve as spiritual guides for those seeking enlightenment. But Tibetan monks didn't just copy these texts. They dedicated their lives to preserving and expanding them. Imagine the scene: a quiet monastery nestled in the mountains, the faint glow of butter lamps illuminating the room, as monks carefully inscribe each word onto handmade paper. Every stroke of the pen was more than an act of writing. It was an act of devotion, a meditation in itself. Through their work, they ensured that the teachings of the Buddha could endure, unbroken through the passage of time. These texts were not written for the sake of posterity alone. They served as tools, guides for meditation, frameworks for teaching, and pathways to enlightenment. Tibetan literature was designed to be lived and experienced. A single line from a scripture could inspire months, even years, of contemplative practice. A verse from a commentary might unlock new dimensions of understanding for a scholar or a seeker. In this way, Tibetan literature became a living tradition, deeply embedded in the spiritual lives of its people. What makes this literary heritage truly remarkable is how seamlessly it blends the sacred and the scholarly. Tibetan monks approached literature with the same reverence they brought to their spiritual practice. Writing was not merely a task, it was a form of offering, a way to honor the teachings, to serve others, and to contribute to the collective journey toward enlightenment. Books were treated as sacred objects, wrapped in cloth and stored with care, reflecting the immense value placed on knowledge. Even today, Tibetan monasteries are repositories of this extraordinary tradition. Ancient manuscripts sit alongside modern prints, each carrying the weight of centuries of wisdom. The dedication of Tibetan monks and scholars has ensured that these teachings remain accessible to the world, continuing to inspire countless individuals seeking meaning and truth. How does a culture manage to blend spirituality and literature so seamlessly? The answer lies in the unique perspective of Tibetan history, a history that views the written word as a sacred bridge to the divine, a means of preserving wisdom and guiding humanity toward compassion and enlightenment. Tibetan literature is not just a collection of words. It is the heartbeat of a culture, a light that continues to shine brightly in a world in need of its wisdom. Through this unparalleled tradition, we see how the fusion of faith and knowledge can create something timeless. It is a reminder that literature, when guided by a higher purpose, has the power to transform not only individuals, but but entire civilizations. This is the legacy of Tibetan history, a story written in devotion, resilience, and unyielding hope. Tibetan literature is not just sacred texts and philosophical treatises. It is also a treasure trove of epic tales that capture the soul of a people. Among these, none shines brighter than the monumental Gesar of Ling, a story so vast and profound that it is regarded as the longest epic in the world. Stretching across countless chapters and generations, this epic is more than a tale of heroism. It is a living testament to the values, beliefs, and spiritual essence of Tibetan culture. The Gesar of Ling tells the story of King Gesar, a divine hero sent to earth to protect the weak, vanquish evil, and restore balance to the world. From his miraculous birth to his triumphs on the battlefield, the epic unfolds as a tapestry of courage, morality, and the eternal struggle between light and darkness. But what makes this story endure for centuries? The answer lies in its profound ability to resonate with the human spirit. For the Tibetan people, the Gesar of Ling is far more than entertainment. It is a cultural compass, guiding generations through the complexities of life. Through Gesar's trials and victories, the epic teaches timeless lessons about compassion, resilience, and the pursuit of righteousness. His journey reflects the ideals of Tibetan Buddhism, where the ultimate goal is not just personal success but the liberation of all beings from suffering. Imagine a world without modern conveniences, no books, no internet, no television. In such a world, the Gesar of Ling was carried forward through the oral tradition, passed from one storyteller to the next. These storytellers, often wandering bards, became the living vessels of the epic, sitting around a fire in villages nestled within the vast Himalayan landscape. They recited the tales of Gesar with passion and reverence. Their voices brought the epic to life, filling the hearts of their listeners with hope and inspiration. The enduring power of the Gesar of Ling also lies in its universality. While deeply rooted in Tibetan history and culture, its themes of good versus evil, loyalty, and divine purpose transcend borders and time. It reminds us of the shared human experience and our collective yearning for heroes who embody the best of us. Beyond its moral and spiritual teachings, the epic serves as a historical archive. Embedded within its verses are insights into the customs, landscapes, and challenges of ancient Tibet. It preserves the memory of a people who, despite facing immense hardships, found strength in their unity and faith. Even today, the Gesar of Ling continues to thrive. In monasteries, schools, and cultural festivals, it is celebrated as a cornerstone of Tibetan heritage. Modern adaptations in art, theater, and literature ensure that the epic remains relevant, bridging the gap between ancient tradition and contemporary life. Why does the Gesar of Ling endure? Because it is not just a story. It is a mirror reflecting the values and aspirations of a people. It is a reminder that heroism is not just about slaying demons, but about embodying virtues that uplift humanity. For Tibet, the Gesar of Ling is a beacon of identity, a source of strength, and an eternal guide in the journey of life. This is the power of Tibetan history, a legacy carried not just in sacred texts, but in the hearts of its people, through epics like the Gesar of Ling, that continue to inspire and illuminate the path forward. In the grand narrative of Tibetan history, one chapter often overlooked yet profoundly important is the role of women in its literary and spiritual traditions. While many societies have struggled to give women a voice, Tibetan culture has seen remarkable female figures who not only contributed to its rich literature, but also left an indelible mark on its spiritual and intellectual heritage. Among these luminaries, Yeshe Tsogyal stands as a shining beacon of wisdom, embodying the balance of masculine and feminine energies that defines Tibetan Buddhism. Yeshe Tsogyal, often regarded as the mother of Tibetan Buddhism, was a disciple and consort of Guru Padmasambhava, the legendary figure who brought Buddhism to Tibet. But her legacy extends far beyond her association with him. She was a scholar, a poet, and a spiritual leader in her own right. Her writings, many of which are mystical in nature, explore profound spiritual truths while offering guidance to those walking the path of enlightenment. In a world where women's voices were often suppressed, How did someone like Yeshe Tsogyal rise to prominence? The answer lies in the unique lens through which Tibetan culture views balance and harmony. Tibetan Buddhism places great emphasis on the interplay of masculine and feminine energies, compassion and wisdom, action and insight. This balance is not merely symbolic, it is seen as essential for spiritual growth. Women, therefore, were recognized not just as followers, but as integral to the spiritual journey. Figures like Yeshe Tsogyal were celebrated for embodying this harmony and for their ability to express it through their teachings and writings. Yeshe Tsogyal's life itself was a story of resilience and transformation. Born into nobility, she faced immense challenges, including societal expectations and personal suffering. Yet, through her dedication to spiritual practice, she transcended these obstacles, becoming a realized being. Her autobiographical writings, filled with poetry and reflections, resonate with themes of empowerment, liberation, and the transformative power of faith. These works are not only spiritual treasures but also windows into the experiences of Tibetan women navigating their roles in a deeply spiritual society. Beyond Yeshe Tsogyal, Tibetan history reveals a tapestry of women who contributed to its literary and cultural legacy. Nuns and lay practitioners composed songs of devotion, wrote commentaries, and even served as teachers. Their voices, though often overshadowed by their male counterparts, carried the same depth of insight and strength of conviction. These writings remind us that Tibetan literature is not the domain of one gender, but a shared heritage that reflects the full spectrum of human experience. This recognition of feminine wisdom extended beyond individuals to Tibetan society as a whole. Monastic institutions, while predominantly male, often collaborated with female practitioners, acknowledging their unique perspectives and contributions. Even in the oral traditions, women played a vital role as storytellers, passing down epics, folktales, and spiritual teachings to new generations. Why did Tibetan culture embrace these voices when so many others did not? Perhaps it is because Tibetan Buddhism is rooted in the idea of interdependence, the belief that all beings, male or female, are connected and equally capable of achieving enlightenment. This inclusivity is reflected in its literature, where the feminine voice is not only heard but revered. Today, as we look back at this often overlooked aspect of Tibetan history, we see a legacy of empowerment and balance. The contributions of women like Yeshe Tsogyal serve as a reminder that wisdom knows no boundaries of gender. Their stories inspire us to honor the voices of all beings and to recognize the strength that comes from harmony. In Tibetan history, women's contributions to literature are more than a footnote. They are a testament to the profound balance that lies at the heart of its culture. These voices, filled with courage and insight, continue to guide us, shining a light on the path toward understanding and enlightenment. In the sweeping narrative of Tibetan history, the present era represents a crossroads, a moment where ancient traditions meet the rapid currents of modernity. Among the many treasures of Tibetan culture, its literature stands as both a beacon of identity and a battleground for preservation. Today's Tibetan writers face a profound challenge: how to honor the legacy of their ancestors while making their voices heard in a world that is changing faster than ever before. Tibetan literature has always been a mirror reflecting the soul of its people. For centuries, it carried the wisdom of the Buddha, the courage of heroes, and the poetic expressions of a deeply spiritual culture. But in the modern world, where globalization and technological advances dominate, Tibetan writers find themselves at a delicate juncture. They are tasked not only with preserving their language and traditions, but also with ensuring that their stories remain relevant in a rapidly evolving global landscape. Imagine the struggles of a writer trying to bridge two worlds. On one hand, there is the deep respect for ancient texts and oral traditions that have sustained Tibetan identity for centuries. On the other, there is a pressing need to engage with contemporary audiences, both Tibetan and non-Tibetan, who may not fully grasp the nuances of this heritage. This delicate balance between honoring tradition and embracing modernity lies at the heart of their work. For many Tibetan writers, the preservation of the Tibetan language is a central concern. Language is not just a tool for communication, it is the vessel that carries the essence of a culture. With the younger generation increasingly exposed to dominant global languages like English and Chinese, there is a risk of Tibetan slipping into obscurity. Writers today are working tirelessly to breathe new life into their language, crafting poetry, prose, and essays that resonate with the younger generation while staying true to their roots. At the same time, Tibetan literature has become a platform for exploring contemporary issues, identity, displacement, and the quest for belonging in a changing world. Many Tibetan writers grapple with themes of exile, drawing on their personal experiences to shed light on the challenges faced by the Tibetan diaspora. Their works serve as both a cry for justice and a testament to the resilience of a people determined to preserve their heritage. Modern Tibetan literature is also finding new ways to connect with a global audience. Writers are experimenting with genres, blending traditional storytelling with modern forms like graphic novels, film scripts, and digital publications. Through these innovative approaches, they are ensuring that Tibetan stories continue to inspire and educate, transcending geographical and cultural barriers. But this journey is not without its struggles. Writers often face censorship and limited resources, and their works risk being overshadowed in a world saturated with information. Despite these challenges, their perseverance is a testament to the enduring power of Tibetan literature. The triumphs of modern Tibetan writers lie in their ability to carry forward the spirit of their ancestors, while forging a path that is uniquely their own. Their stories remind us that traditions are not static relics but living, breathing entities that can adapt and grow without losing their essence. In Tibetan history, literature has always been a bridge, connecting the past with the present, the sacred with the secular, and the local with the universal. Today, that bridge is more vital than ever. Through their words, Tibetan writers are not only preserving their culture, but also inviting the world to walk alongside them, to see through their eyes, and to feel the depth of their journey. This is the story of Tibetan literature in the modern era, a story of challenges met with courage, of traditions honored with innovation, and of a legacy that refuses to fade. It is a testament to the resilience of a people who understand that the power of the written word can transcend time and space, carrying the soul of a culture into the future. In the modern age, where screens glow brighter than the flicker of butter lamps, Tibetan literature is stepping into a new frontier. Digital media, social platforms, ebooks, and online forums are emerging as the modern monasteries of knowledge, offering a global stage for Tibetan voices. But this transition raises a profound question. Can the digital world, with all its convenience and reach, truly capture the depth and sacred essence of handwritten scriptures that have been cherished for centuries? Tibetan literature has always been more than just words on a page. It is a vessel of wisdom, a reflection of spirituality, and a bridge between generations. Traditionally, the act of writing was a meditative practice. Monks painstakingly copied sacred texts, their hands guided by devotion, their work infused with intention. Each page carried not only knowledge but also the blessings of those who created it. In a world where such practices were revered, the written word was seen as sacred, almost alive. Now, this centuries-old tradition finds itself adapting to the digital realm. Online platforms have become a space for Tibetan writers to share their works with a global audience. Social media amplifies voices that once might have been confined to the highlands, connecting readers across continents. Ebooks bring Tibetan teachings into the pockets of seekers worldwide, ensuring that ancient wisdom can reach even the most remote corners of the planet. This shift to digital offers undeniable opportunities. It democratizes access to Tibetan literature, making it possible for anyone, anywhere to engage with its timeless stories and teachings. It also provides a platform for contemporary Tibetan writers to explore new genres and reach diverse audiences. In many ways, the digital age has breathed new life into Tibetan literature, ensuring its survival in a fast-changing world. Yet, with these opportunities come challenges. Digital formats, no matter how advanced, cannot fully replicate the tactile experience of holding a hand-copied manuscript or the sacred act of turning its pages. The intricate artistry of Tibetan script, the faint scent of old parchment, and the sense of connection to generations past, these are elements that no screen can replace. The transition to digital risks losing the depth of these experiences, reducing profound works to mere data files. Moreover, the digital world moves at a relentless pace, often prioritizing speed and accessibility over depth and contemplation. Can the timeless wisdom of Tibetan literature, designed to be absorbed slowly and meditated upon, find its place in a world of quick scrolling and fleeting attention spans? This is the dynamic tension Tibetan writers and readers must navigate, preserving the soul of their tradition while embracing the tools of modern innovation. Despite these challenges, there is hope. Tibetan literature's journey into the digital realm is guided by the same principles that have sustained it for centuries: resilience, adaptability, and an unyielding commitment to its core values. Many modern Tibetan writers and educators are finding ways to integrate digital tools with traditional practices, creating multimedia projects that honor the beauty of handwritten texts while reaching new audiences. Virtual archives are preserving ancient manuscripts, ensuring their survival for future generations. Online discussions and communities are keeping the spirit of Tibetan storytelling alive, fostering a global dialogue around its teachings. The digital age is not a threat to Tibetan literature but an evolution. It is an opportunity to expand its reach, to share its light with a world that increasingly craves depth and meaning. The essence of Tibetan literature, its wisdom, compassion, and timeless truths, can transcend any format, whether ink on paper or pixels on a screen. As we explore this new chapter in Tibetan history, we see a tradition that is both timeless and timely, deeply rooted, yet open to change. The journey of Tibetan literature into the digital age is not about losing its essence but finding new ways to carry it forward. It is a reminder that while technology may change the medium, it is the message, the heart of the words, that endures, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. Tibetan writing and literature are far more than relics of a bygone era. They are living legacies, vibrant threads woven into the fabric of a culture that has endured for centuries. These stories, scriptures, and teachings are not confined to the dusty pages of history. They breathe life into the present, offering wisdom, solace, and guidance to those who seek meaning in an ever-changing world. Every word, every verse carries with it the essence of Tibetan history, a history of resilience, compassion, and a deep connection to the spiritual. Tibetan literature is a testament to the enduring power of words, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit can find strength through storytelling, reflection, and shared knowledge. As we bring this journey through Tibetan writing and literature to a close, I invite you to pause and reflect. What role does literature play in preserving a culture? Is it merely a record of what was, or is it a guide to what can be? For Tibet, literature has been both, a mirror of its past and a torch lighting the way forward. It has preserved not just knowledge but the soul of a people, ensuring that their legacy continues to inspire across generations. But this story isn't complete without you. In a world that often moves too quickly, taking the time to engage with these writings is an act of preservation in itself. What resonates with you from this rich tradition? Perhaps it's a verse from the Gesar of Ling, a teaching from the Kangyur, or a simple phrase that embodies Tibetan wisdom. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know which stories or teachings have touched your heart and why they matter to you. By sharing these insights, we keep these stories alive. We ensure that Tibetan literature doesn't remain locked away in libraries or monasteries but becomes a part of the global conversation. Together we can honor this living legacy and carry its wisdom into the future. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Tibetan history and its literary treasures. May these words inspire you, as they have inspired countless others, to seek wisdom, embrace compassion, and celebrate the enduring power of culture. Let's keep the conversation going and ensure these timeless stories continue to light the way for generations to come.